Welcome to Healing Dialogues. I'm Irene Siegel, the co-director of Centerpoint, an integrated health and counseling center located in Huntington, New York. This is the second segment in a series of 4 on the medicine wheel. In our first segment, we discussed how the medicine wheel is a tool for growth and personal transformation that continues throughout our entire lifetime. Each time we circle the wheel, it takes us to a higher and higher place in our own spiritual development and a deeper and deeper place in our own personal healing process. The Incan wheel, which we have been discussing, begins in the south and works with the issues of letting go of the past, identifying the ghosts of the past, and clearing and cleansing that which is old and we no longer need to hold on to. Today we're talking about the work of the West. On the Incan wheel, the work of the West is represented by the jaguar, a major force of nature, an archetype of nature that helps us connect to the world of spirit. The image is of the jaguar with its hind legs in the physical world and its forelegs in its world, the world of spirit. And we walk across the back of the jaguar from the ordinary into the non-ordinary. The West on the wheel is the place of the spiritual warrior. It's where we learn to face our greatest fears. And in facing those fears, we learn that there's nothing to fear because we recognize that we are already one with Spirit. As we take that journey from identifying our deepest fears, we're able to then step into the world of Spirit with awareness and confidence and a knowing that we can't be hurt in that realm. So, in doing the work of the West, we work with these two elements. The first is to acknowledge what within us holds our greatest fear. What part of us, what issues, what experiences triggers those fears? The shamans would say that in our Western culture, our greatest fear is our fear of death. The shamans learn that when they're born into this lifetime, death walks by their side, and death is a friend, because they realize that death is just another state of transformation, and that the spirit, the soul, continues to live on. In our everyday world, in technological societies, we are usually not taught that concept. So the shamans believe that as we can face our fears of death, or whatever those greatest fears are, and we can overcome them, then we can take that leap into spirit with ease, with confidence. So it's a place on the wheel of spiritual initiation. But before we can get to that point, we need to be able to access the parts of ourselves that exist in the shadows. These are the parts of ourselves that exist deep within our unconscious that we may not even be aware of. If I asked you, what are you afraid of? We all probably could think of things that bring up fear in us. However, there are deeper fears that we repress, that we keep hidden, that we dance with every day. If we don't touch them, if they don't come to the surface, sometimes we think they're not there. But in reality, they show up in every movement, in every choice. If you think for a moment of the things that you are afraid of, notice your reaction to those aspects of your world. Whatever we're afraid of, we tend to shy away from. We tend to not take action. We tend to not be able to find the empowered warrior within us that needs to move forward. In doing the work of the West, utilizing the tools of the shaman, which revolves around working in the non-ordinary realms, we're able to identify the parts of ourselves that have been hidden away, the parts of ourselves that affect us every day from what I'll call the shadow world, the unconscious deep within us. Jung talked about the unconscious and how much it affects our everyday world. Jung was aware that there was a collective unconscious, an ordinary realm, that also has a non-ordinary component to it. So in shamanic work, we learn how to, through the use of meditation, journey into the non-ordinary realms where we can identify those greatest fears, where we can see them, sense them, and realize that we carry them not only emotionally, but we hold them in our body. We hold them in our energy field, the field that surrounds the physical body. And that these fears affect us every day. If we see that there are certain areas in our life where we just are not accessing our potential, well, what are the deeper fears that we are carrying? When in our last segment, when we talked about the work of the South, we talked about how our past has to do with not just our personal past, but our cultural past, our family past, our past lives, if that's part of your belief system, our spiritual past. And in the West as well, when we draw on our greatest fears, there are fears that we take in from so many levels around us that we're not even conscious of doing that. So the West is the place on the wheel of the spiritual warrior. As we access our fears, we learn how to move through those fears. But we learn that a warrior is a warrior of the heart. That our greatest fears and our greatest adversary is internal. It's not about anything outside of ourselves. And as we can access our internal adversary, the part of us that sabotages our efforts, that stops us from moving forward, as we learn to access that and identify that, as a spiritual warrior, we can take a stance in our world that helps us to move forward with empowerment and confidence. So the work of the West is a very serious place on the medicine wheel. It's where we ask ourselves the question, are we prepared to do whatever it takes to take that leap into spirit? Are we prepared to face our greatest fears in order to take that leap in our own development of consciousness? Now, many of us are presented with crisis situations every day. Certainly there are significant times in our life where we have said, okay, at this particular point in time, this time changed my life. This was a crisis in my life. And we have a choice at that point of crisis. We have a choice of retreating within ourselves and hiding in our fear. Or we have a choice of accessing the spiritual warrior that exists within us and utilizing that energy to bring us through the crisis, to find a part of ourselves that we didn't even realize exists, a part of ourselves that is empowered, and a part of ourselves that exists in alignment with spirit. So we ask that spirit bring to us these crises when we do the work of the West, so that we could, in a moment, see how we could change the old dance we do. And in those challenges that come forward, it can be of crisis proportion, or it could be everyday situations that we have dealt with a million times. But suddenly we see the dance that we've been doing. We see how we have been dancing with fear, how we have not been bringing ourselves fully into a situation in order to change the reality of that situation. There is the challenge of the spiritual warrior. In other contexts, it's talked about as the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell talked about the hero's journey and how, as we come across different crisis points in our lives, we make that choice. That journey takes us deeper within ourselves, and the deeper we go within ourselves, the higher we go in terms of our connection to spirit. So it's not a new concept. It's certainly an ancient concept, but as we talk about it and it's talked about in our literature, we're able within our society, within our more technological society, we're able to start to realize that there are ancient truths that we can bring forward at this point in time in our evolutionary process. So, where is the spiritual warrior within you? What have been the greatest fears that you've come in touch with but haven't been sure how to break through? Now, as a psychotherapist, people come to me all the time in crisis. In conventional therapy, we will look at the issues that impact upon the client. We'll look at the past experiences that make it hard for someone to move forward when a crisis appears. But as spiritual warriors, we realize that we welcome these situations because they help us find the impetus within ourselves to take ourselves to another level in our own development. So if you think about your own life, and if you think about a time when there was a crisis point, maybe a crossroads where you had to make a decision, did you make it with fear? Or did you find an empowered place within yourself where you were able to take that leap despite the fear? And did that change your life? So the shaman works through meditation in the non-ordinary realms. We learn how to journey into these realms, and we work with the energy of the jaguar in this particular direction. And the jaguar teaches us that as we work in the non-ordinary reality, there is actually a geography to it. There's an objective reality that the shamans know about. So, for example, in tribes in the jungle where they don't have a telephone to call one another, the shaman of the tribe would learn to journey in the non-ordinary realm and meet with the other shaman in these non-ordinary spaces. And a communication would actually happen. They could actually talk to one another in these realms and bring back information. This is how the shamans access the body of knowledge. Shamanism is a 100,000-year-old body of knowledge that existed prior to religion. And the shamans learn that we don't have to talk to spirit, we can talk with spirit. We can learn how to access that body of knowledge. So to get to that point of spiritual initiation requires an ability to access the warrior within ourselves. So we're going to do a brief meditation today to help you start to just identify a little bit what your work is in the West. What have been the shadow aspects of yourself that have blocked you from your full potential, whether it's potential in your outer world or a spiritual potential in terms of a process of initiation. We realize at Centerpoint how important it is to blend the healing process with a process of spiritual initiation, and that this takes us to a deeper part of ourselves where true healing can occur. So the path of the spiritual warrior is one that is essential in our own healing process and essential in our process of spiritual initiation. So we're going to start again briefly with a breathing exercise that we did in our last segment, which is inhaling through your nose into the belly, bringing the breath from the belly to the lungs, and from your lungs, hold your lungs full as long as you can, and then slowly release the breath through your mouth, holding your lungs empty for as long as you can. And then we're going to start again. So you can do this with your eyes open or closed. And let's begin with a deep breath through the nose, into the belly. From the belly, send the breath to the chest and hold it. Slowly releasing the breath through your mouth until your lungs are empty. Holding your lungs empty. And inhaling again through the nose, into the belly, sending the breath to the lungs. Exhaling through the mouth, holding your lungs empty. And taking another deep breath through the nose, this time silently as you lead yourself through it. And notice your body relaxing totally and completely as you breathe deeply. Your body automatically relaxes, helping you release your stress, your tension, helping you get into an altered state. And I'm going to use a drum beat to help take us through a very brief meditation. And drumming is one way that the shamans learn how to get into an altered state quickly and journey into those non-ordinary realms. So, close your eyes as I take you through this. So close your eyes, and I'm going to start with a soft drum beat. And just let your imagination go. And I want you to imagine a root like the root of a tree reaching down from the base of your spine deep into the earth. And bring up the earth energy as a silver beam of light up the spine and into your heart. And from your heart, send that silver light out to every cell of the body. Every cell of the body. And up above, imagine a beautiful golden star. And this star is you, your higher self, your connection to spirit. And there's a beam of light coming down from that star, down in through the top of your head and into your heart. And from your heart, send that golden light out to every cell of the body. Every cell of the body. Now with all of your awareness, follow that golden light back to its source, back into that star, bringing all of your awareness into that star, all of your awareness into that star. And as you bathe in the light of that star, let your own warrior spirit step forward. See, sense, know what that warrior spirit feels like. How long has that warrior spirit been hidden? And how much of your actions and decisions are based in fear? And how many of them come from the power of that warrior spirit? And feel yourself lifting higher and higher into that light. And as you do, that warrior spirit embodies you and takes you on a journey deep into the non-ordinary realms. Higher and higher, higher and higher. Higher and higher. And deeper and deeper. Taking you to a scene to show you how you've danced in fear. And notice the scene that comes to mind. Notice the belief system about yourself that exists in that scene. And notice what percentage of your energy is being utilized to dance in fear. And are you prepared to release that dance? To stop dancing in fear and to access the energy of that warrior spirit? And if so, then allow that warrior spirit to step right into that scene, to bring in your light and notice what changes. And what can that warrior spirit bring to you in terms of changing your belief system? What can change in terms of your actions? And what can that change for you within your everyday world? And are you prepared to face the challenges that Spirit will present as you invite in your warrior spirit? And bring your awareness back to your energy field now. Notice the colors, the patterns, the radiance of your field. As the energy of that warrior spirit penetrates your energy field. And we're going to slowly bring that energy back down through the stars, coming down in through the top of your head and into your heart. And from your heart, send that light out to every cell of the body, activating every cell of your body with your warrior spirit. And extend your light down the base of your spine and deep into the earth, anchoring your light deep into the earth. Bringing your awareness back to your physical body. Feeling the energy circulating like rivers of light throughout your body. And bringing your awareness back into this present moment. And as you come back, notice where your work is as a warrior spirit. What part of your world brings up your greatest fears? And what are those fears? And for those of you that have been following a spiritual discipline, a spiritual path, notice how there is opportunity in your everyday world to find those fears and to access them and to do the healing work necessary to take you to the next level in your own spiritual initiation. For those of you who are suffering with emotional symptoms, relationship issues, with physical illness, where is your work? Where is your warrior spirit? What part of you have you been disconnected from? As we connect to ourselves and as we connect to nature, we connect to the part of us within ourselves that can heal and grow and transform. So as we follow this path of the medicine wheel, notice what starts to evolve in your own world. Notice what opportunities present themselves to you for you to take a different stance. In our next segment, we'll be working with the direction of the north, the place of mastery on the wheel. You'll see how we move from the place of personal healing into a realm of spiritual awareness and back again. So as you start to understand the relationship between the healing process and the process of spiritual initiation, your life starts to shape itself differently. Notice what happens for you. Find a teacher or a healer that can help you through your personal process. This was just a brief introduction to this direction, but it's a very full direction that leads to many rewards and personal growth and lessons as you do the work of the West, as you find the spiritual warrior within you. So please join me for the next segment when we do the work of the North. I'm Irene Siegel, co-director for Centerpoint. Thank you.